welcome to Straight Dive Podcast.
Great to be here.
Today we're diving deep into, a truly special piece of automotive history.
We are indeed. The 1930 Cadillac Fleetwood V8 all-weather Phaeton. A magnificent car.
Absolutely. And, it wasn't just any car. A very important figure, the Latvian president, Kārlis Ulmanis, actually drove one.
That's right. It gives it that extra layer of history, doesn't it?
It really does. So our mission today is twofold. Explore the fascinating story of this car.
And help you practice your English, especially if you're, say, an A2B1 level learner who loves cars.
Exactly. Let's get into it. So where does the story begin? Cadillac itself.
Right. The Cadillac Automobile Company was founded way back in 1903.
So it started in 1903.
Yeah, they kicked things off then. But then, not too long after, in 1909, a huge company, General Motors, or GM, they acquired Cadillac.
Acquired, meaning they bought the company.
Exactly. GM bought Cadillac. And from that point, Cadillac really became GM's, premier luxury brand, their top-of-the-line offering.
The fanciest one they made?
Pretty much. They didn't just make the whole cars either. They also built chassis, the sort of skeleton of the vehicle, for commercial uses like limousines.
Ah, interesting. So they founded the company, then GM acquired it, and it became the luxury division. What about the engines? The V8 part of the name sounds important.
Very important. Cadillac actually introduced its first V8 engine back in 1914. Quite early, really.
So that was the first time they offered a V8?
The first time, yes.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 1930, the year of our car, and things got even more interesting.
How so?
They added even bigger engines to the lineup. V12s and massive V16s.
Wow. So in 1930, you could get a Cadillac with 3 different engine types.
That's right. A V8, a V12, or a V16. All 3 were available.
Available, meaning buyers had a choice. That's quite something for 1930.
It really was. And the choices didn't stop there. When it came to the car's body, customers could choose between 2 coach builders, Fisher and Fleetwood.
Fisher and Fleetwood. Were they separate companies?
Well, originally, yes, but by this time, both were actually owned by General Motors.
Ah, so GM owned the body makers, too. Clever.
It kept everything sort of in-house. The V8 model we're focusing on, that was called the 353, it had 96 horsepower.
Okay, 96 horsepower, respectable for the time.
Definitely. And you could get it on 2 different wheelbase lengths. That's the distance between the front and rear wheels. 140 inches or a longer 152 inches.
And body styles. Were many available?
Oh, yes. Lots of styles were available. You had your coupes, convertibles, sedans, and, of course, the specific one we're interested in, the Fleetwood all-weather Phaeton, was also available.
Got it. So this specific model, the 1930 Series 353, when was it actually brought out?
Cadillac introduced the all-new 1930 Series 353 in September 1929.
September 29. That timing sounds significant.
It was. Just 1 month before they officially showed off the V12 engine and, more dramatically, just before the huge Wall Street crash of October 1929.
Wow. Talk about timing, but people still bought them.
They did. Because, people expected luxury and quality from Cadillac. That was the reputation.
Expected it, right. It was the standard they set.
Precisely. And Cadillac delivered. There were tons of choices for equipment, the interior materials, the exterior colors. They even improved the order catalog.
So customizing your car was a big deal.
A huge deal. Fisher bodies were now called Fisher Custom, with 7 closed body styles available.
And Fleetwood, were they even more exclusive?
Even more so. Their line was called Fleetwood Special Custom. They offered 11 basic body shapes, but with loads of different modifications possible. So many, many variations were available.
The variations, like different trims or features.
Exactly. And speaking of features, something quite modern became available then. A wireless radio.
A radio in the car in 1930.
Yep. All the bodies were pre-wired so you could add an optional AM radio. The antenna was actually concealed right in the roof fabric.
Hidden away. Very neat.
It was. And the Fleetwood catalog itself listed 37 different standard variations just for colors and upholstery, the seat materials.
37. What kind of materials?
Things like mohair, that's a sort of soft wool, and various types of leather. If you wanted the absolute most exclusive variation, that was probably the 4-door collapsible touring limousine de Brome. Quite a name.
Sounds incredibly fancy. Did they sell many cars that year, despite the crash?
For the 1930 model year, sales actually reached 14,995 cars. Still a respectable number, all things considered.
Okay, let's quickly recap the technical bits. The engine.
It was a 5,784 cc L-head V8, produced 96 horsepower at 3,000 RPM.
And the gearbox. Brakes.
A standard 3-speed manual gearbox. Brakes were mechanical drums on all four wheels.
Suspension. Pretty basic back then.
Fairly basic by today's standards, yes.
Okay.
Solid beam axle at the front, live axle at the rear, both using semi-elliptical leaf springs, rugged and reliable, which was expected.
Right. Now, you mentioned the Latvian president's car, but there's another interesting story involving Latvia, isn't there, about a restoration?
There is. The Riga Motor Museum in Latvia recently restored a very similar 1930s Cadillac Fleetwood V8 all-weather Phaeton.
Restored it, meaning they fixed it all up.
Exactly. Brought it back to its original glory. They even call it the twin brother of President Ulmanis's car. The restoration was incredibly detailed.
Like the roof. That must have been tricky.
Especially the soft top. They had to recreate it using the technologies and materials authentic to the 1920s and 30s. A major part of the restoration.
How long did this whole restoration take?
It took 3 years, and it was apparently quite challenging.
I can imagine.
Just getting the car was an adventure. It had to be transported all the way from California to Latvia.
Wow. Was the car in bad shape?
Some parts, yes, some parts, no. The chassis and suspension were surprisingly well preserved. Cadillac built them tough, and this car hadn't seen heavy use.
And being in California probably helped the metal. Less rust.
Exactly. The dry climate was good for the body panels. However, the wooden frame structure inside the bodywork, that needed significant work.
Wood. Inside the metal body.
Yes, common back then. It was so bad the museum's metal specialists apparently had to learn carpentry skills.
No way. Metal guys becoming woodworkers. That shows dedication.
It does. Other parts were tough, too. The aluminum components of the convertible top mechanism were badly damaged by corrosion.
Damaged, okay. And the soft top itself.
Completely gone. Lost to time.
What about the engine and transmission?
They had actually been restored previously in the U.S., but the museum team felt they needed further improvements to meet their standards.
So even the restored parts needed more work.
Pretty much. And all the shiny chrome and nickel parts needed careful prep work before replating to get back that original smooth, perfect finish. Even the windows were remade.
Remade.
Yeah, new triplex safety glass was custom made to match the original thickness and shape. So yes, the museum fully restored this incredible machine. A fantastic job.
An amazing story of dedication. Okay, that brings us nicely to our vocabulary section. We've used some key words today. Let's recap them.
Good idea. Helps reinforce the learning.
First word, founded. That means started or established an organization. Repeat. Founded.
Founded. The Cadillac Company was founded in 1903.
Next, acquired. This means came to possess or receive something, often by buying it. Repeat. Acquired.
Acquired. General Motors acquired Cadillac.
Then we have introduce. Presented something for the first time. Repeat. Introduce.
Introduced. Cadillac introduced the V8 engine in 1914.
How about available? Able to be bought or used. Repeat. Available.
Available. Many body styles were available. 3 engine types were available.
Next up, owned. Simply belonged to someone. Repeat. Owned.
Owned. Fisher and Fleetwood were both owned by GM.
Then expected. Regarded as likely to happen or be the case. Repeat. Expected.
Expected. High quality was expected from Cadillac.
And finally, restored. Brought back to a former condition. Repeat. Restored.
Restored. The Riga Motor Museum restored the car beautifully. It was carefully restored.
Excellent. Now let's move to our shadow drill. This is where you listen and repeat, copying the pronunciation. I'll say a sentence, then you'll hear it echoed. Ready?
Let's do it.
The Cadillac Company was founded in 1903.
The Cadillac Company was founded in 1903.
General Motors acquired Cadillac in 1909.
General Motors acquired Cadillac in 1909.
They introduced V8 engines in 1914.
They introduced V8 engines in 1914.
Many body styles were available for this luxury car.
Many body styles were available for this luxury car.
The Fleetwood catalog offered many variations and choices.
The Fleetwood catalog offered many variations and choices.
Customers expected high quality and luxury from Cadillac.
Customers expected high quality and luxury from Cadillac.
The Riga Motor Museum restored a similar Cadillac.
The Riga Motor Museum restored a similar Cadillac.
Great job, everyone. Hope that was helpful.
Definitely good practice.
Now, how about a fun fact about this amazing car?
Oh, I like fun facts.
Did you know the 1930 Cadillac Fleetwood V8 all-weather Phaeton was so luxurious, so customizable, that its official catalog listed 37 distinct standard variations just in color and upholstery?
37 standard options.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And apparently, if none of those suited you, you could even request practically any material you desired. Talk about bespoke.
Wow. Customer service back then was really something, wasn't it? If you had the money, of course.
Exactly. Okay, time for a quick mini quiz to see what you remember. 3 questions. I'll pause briefly before giving the answer.
Okay, let's test that recall.
Question 1. In what year was the Cadillac Automobile Company founded?
Pause. The Cadillac Automobile Company was founded in 1903.
Correct. Question 2. What engine types were available for Cadillac in 1930?
Pause. In 1930, V8, V12, and V16 engines were available.
Right again. 3 choices. Question 3. Which museum recently restored a 1930s Cadillac Fleetwood V8 all-weather Phaeton?
Pause. The Riga Motor Museum restored the car.
Perfect. Well done if you got those right at home.
Yes, excellent work.
So that brings us towards the end of our deep dive today. We've looked closely at the 1930 Cadillac Fleetwood V8 all-weather Phaeton.
We talked about when it was introduced, its amazing luxury features, the different options available, and that incredible restoration story from Riga.
We hope this glimpse into automotive history was both interesting and a good way to practice your English.
There are certainly lots more stories out there about classic cars, and many ways to keep practicing your language skills.
Definitely. Which leaves us with a final thought to ponder.
What other fascinating stories do classic cars hold, just waiting to be unpacked?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on Straight Dive.
Farewell, everyone.